Can you hear it? It's a lovely rainy weekend here. So it's going to be a little bit chaotic. I'm going to be working on 3 or 4 different tractor projects all at once. We're going to get a little bit of the sea into it. Crankshaft should be coming back for the Caterpillar any day now. We got the D17 to work on and possibly a tractor for a guy up the road. We'll see about that one. So I'm just going to bring you guys with and show you what an average multi-project weekend looks like for me. So we're going to start off with the D17. Alright, it's Friday afternoon. First project we're going to work on is my live hydraulic project for the D17. So I started earlier this week, took my generator out, getting this cleaned up a little bit. Probably going to rebuild this engine next winter, but for the meantime it runs good enough. A little leaky. But I want to put live hydraulics on this tractor. I don't want to put them on the front because there's going to be a loader on it. I'm worried about damaging my pump, all that good stuff. So I'm going with something similar to something I saw in the unofficial Allis forum. I'll have to pop that guy's username up here because I don't remember it this second. I'm going to put a live hydraulic pump in this area here. So the general idea is this is a Series 1 D17, so it had the one groove crank pulley on it. So went up to my favorite tractor salvage yard and picked up a 2-groove pulley for it. New old stock. Even had the original Allis punch card in it. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So step one is we're going to have to pull the front power steering and front axle support off so we can get this old pulley off, put the new pulley on. In the meantime, I've been designing my bracket. So I started with some measurements, put it into AutoCAD, printed it up, and then I made this cardboard pattern. And we're going to see if my idea is even feasible, if I can actually fit it in there. So the general idea here is I got this big piece of steel, and that's going to come down into here, bolt to my frame rail, and I think it was in and around here. That's going to be kind of important because I can see I'm getting close to my water pump. I can remove some more steel here. Yeah, keep it away from this governor linkage, but I still have my bolt hole for my old generator adjustment bracket that I can bring over, get a little bit more support out of that. I'm going to have to move this whole thing down or it's not going to fit. Yeah, that could be problematic. I'm going to have to throw the generator on there, see what that looks like. Yep, that's not going to fit. Alright, Sunday morning. Sun beat me up today, but we're going to go back to the shop and finish up those connecting rods that we started cleaning yesterday and work on the hydraulic pump mount for the D17 a little bit. So, I don't know if I mentioned or not, yesterday was a bust. I knew I was going to be going to help a friend change some tires on a tractor. That's all he told me. Found out it was a John Deere 9330 with duals on it, and we had to take off all 8 tires, which are taller than me, take all the weights off, put one set of weights back on the inner tires, and get all the tires back on. That was a chore. We were supposed to have 2 other guys helping us. Well, one of them didn't show up until we were just putting the last wheel on. So it was a long day. Moving on though, let's get some more stuff done. Later that day, we are back from the shop with a box full of connecting rods that are all cleaned up, and my package from Amazon came with the hydraulic valves for the D17, so we can start mocking that up. Alright, so my usual suppliers I was having trouble getting hydraulic parts from. And since I'm not a hydraulic engineer, I don't always order the right stuff. So Fortunately, Amazon came through. We have a pump on the way, we have a loader valve on the way, but in the meantime, I have a 3-spool valve here, which I have mocked up by placing on top of the toolbox. I think what I'll do here is just make a bracket off of this brake cover, move the toolbox to the left side. But this is going to be for my rear auxiliary ports and the new 3-point lift lever, just so that they're all in the same place. I could keep using the one up on the dash, but it makes more sense to move it here down by the others. So imagine this is a 2-spool loader valve. I'm thinking that'll go somewhere around here. And then this single spool I bought for the third function for the grapple that I have is going to go probably just in front of it. So I lift a lot of logs around here. Having a grapple would be a handy feature. I think the neighbor's horse is coming over. So, Mach 2 of the D17 hydraulic pump project. Looking at it from the front, this is our crank pulley, water pump pulley, generator, hydraulic pump. Might be able to tell what's going on here. I know what's going on because I drew it. But this is where I want to put the hydraulic pump. Still leaving the generator on top, but everything is a lot lower now because I actually had the control for the power steering drawn too high, and that's why I thought this had to be higher. So this is take 2. We've got our pattern. We're going to cut it out on some cardboard and see if this fits a little better. Alright, here's Gen 1. That was getting interfered with up here as a manifold for the exhaust and the intake was right there. Here's Gen 2. Shorter, squattier. This should work much better because we've moved the generator down a good 3-4 inches. Alright, so fresh visual reminder. We're going to be mounting, I think the end of it should be about 2 inches behind the threaded holes for the sheet metal around the radiator. A brief reminder, this is our first one. Goes in kind of like this. And since the bottom corner of the alternator would have been here, it would have been up here, interfering with this guy here. Take 2. Much better. My only worry is, since I'm kind of freehanding this, we're getting very close to the linkage from the governor to the carburetor. I think we're okay there because this should be the back side of it. Plenty of room for the pump. We're looking good there. Looks like we're going to be able to run the hoses nicely, just straight back. Alternator looks like we're going to have enough clearance, so we're going to start cutting steel on this next weekend. Okay, as the mock-up continues, I finally have this loader bracket that's been half bolted on here, fully bolted on here. So this loader came off of a case. I want to say it was a 430 or something like that. I think it's been on more things because there's holes all over it. But the problem with it was the tractor it was on didn't have a drop axle like the D17 here does. So I made this block that bolts to the bracket on the back of the loader, goes around the axle, and then bolts to the 2 lower fender mount bolts. And then eventually I can throw some sort of clamp over the top through these 2 holes. That's pretty solid. I like it so far. Now I'm going to half bolt up the other loader arm that's been sitting outside for over a year. And we're going to see how that looks. I got to take the old valve off of it because I'm using a joystick valve that I bought. And we'll just keep this project going. And the reason we're only half bolting it up is I only have one of these blocks made. I ordered enough steel for 2, but I made a mistake on my first attempt to make it, so I gotta order a new block. This is the old 2-spool valve that was on there. It's still good. I'm hanging on to it, but I wanted to use that joystick that I picked up instead because it fits in the spot where I'm going to put it a little bit better. Alright, a little bit of a snag here. Nothing a grinder won't fix. This is the bracket where the hydraulic valves were previously on here, and it's looking to me like it's going to interfere with the tank as well as my high-low lever, assuming I still want to be able to go from high to low. This bracket's going to have to come off. This is about where my 3 valves are going to go. You can see it's a pretty nice spot right there. I'm going to mount them up by making a plate that I'm going to sandwich in between the rear axle housing and the plate that covers the brakes. So it'll just span from here over to the valve, and then I can build the brackets for my other valves off of that as well. And then over here on the left side is where I'll move the toolbox to. And then up here, as I was mentioning before, this is where we're going to have the interference here, because I think this was actually cut out to go around the tank right about here. But problem being, when I pull my lever into low range, I need to move through that area, so this is going to have to go. Have you ever been working on a project and found other problems with the project and the project just gets bigger and bigger? I need a bushing in that. Gonna need a bushing in that. Alright, well, I got some good news and some bad news. Bad news is I'm out of cutoff wheels, so I can't finish modifying that arm tonight, which means I can't bolt it up tonight. Good news is it's dinner time and I'm hungry, so that's gonna be about it for my weekend of tractor work. Overall, I'm pretty happy with what I got done. We made big steps on the D17 here. When the pump comes in next week and those valves, I think next weekend if I hit the machining really hard, I should be able to get that almost ready to go get the loader and put it on there. Anybody following the C project, we're ready to keep chugging along on that, and we can get some more progress done on that during the week. As those connecting rods cleaned up really nice, and we're waiting on the bearings for the mains and the connecting rods, but we got stuff we can work on in the meantime. D2 crankshaft, still didn't get a call about that. They don't work Sundays obviously, but I'm guessing sometime next week I'll be going to pick that up. So there's more machining that has to get done. Overall, got a lot of stuff done, considering Saturday was completely a bust with going out and working on that John Deere 9330. That was a lot of work, and it makes me thankful that my biggest tractor is the D17, because there's a lot fewer parts on that that could crush me and kill me. There are still some, but almost everything on that John Deere felt dangerous to me. Well, as always, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this, hit subscribe. Get to see all these projects that I started this weekend or worked on this weekend a little bit more cohesively. And I'll see you in the next one.